Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 10th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop here. And if you look closely, you can kind of see where that moisture was streaming from east to west across the area. Brought us some nice rainfall for mainly areas Portland north through some of western Washington, southwest BC, where we really needed it. However, we did leave some of western Oregon high and dry this round, maybe just a little bit getting down to the coast region and some of the Willamette Valley, not picking up too much here. But you can see out across the Pacific Ocean here, we're going to build a ridge back up over the next few days. And this troughing out here is going to bring some energy back on the back side of this through the extended forecast. We'll take a look at that in the upcoming model runs here in a moment. This is looking at that precipitable water, and this is just kind of the movement of what was going on yesterday. We had that flow out of the southeast. This is brought up from yesterday's run, or actually the previous night, June 8th, the nighttime run for the European. But we had that moisture moving across the area here, and you can kind of see it backing off. So we're going to put an end to that little rainfall event we did have across some areas west of the Cascades, and then we're going to bring this trough a little bit closer here. But we got some ridging first, and we're going to warm up a bit here, and we'll take a look at those details here in a moment. And if you guys want a nice, affordable home weather station, again, I've been touting this one, highly recommended, totally wireless, solar-powered, haptic rain gauge, ultrasonic anemometer. And this is kind of an interesting thing. You can see it's been raining for 100 minutes today. The weather station knows that. It's very interesting. It can detect when the rain starts falling due to that haptic rain gauge. And you can see the rain today and the rain yesterday. So about 4/10 of an inch of rain here, pretty accurate according to my CocoRa's gauge and my more expensive Davis weather equipment out there. And you can see the temperature and the wind it does, and it updates that all the time here on the web. But anyway, back to the forecast. Look at SeaTac yesterday, a chilly 56, 14 degrees below average, officially 1900ths of an inch there in the precipitation bucket. Average high for this time of year is 70 degrees. And if you look back, the lowest all-time record high temperature for the day was set in 2008 of 55. So we just missed that one. We were down there towards one of the coldest high temperatures ever for June 9th. This is National Weather Service Spokane talking about thunderstorms and heavy rain today. Should be actually coming to an end as we go through the day today. But you can see there is the potential for some flooding, and this was issued this morning. This is day one thunderstorm outlook. You can see it includes some of the Okanagan Highlands here and some of northeast Washington down and through eastern Oregon, Idaho, and Montana today. Something similar tomorrow. And again, this could move all the way towards the Cascades as we go on in through Monday here. Not a huge signal, but it does show some thunderstorm potential popping up on the Cascades. This is a percent of average precipitation, May 11th through June 9th. And this does not include some of the rain that fell today as well, but this is much needed. That's why everybody was kind of hooting and hollering and enjoying that rainfall across western Washington, BC, and again, some areas of Oregon, as shown here on the CocoRa's, did not pick up that much across the Willamette Valley. You can see some areas skunked, mainly south of Salem there, and just some very light amounts along the coastline. But as you get up towards Portland and western Washington, it did pick up some nice beneficial rain, as well as southwest BC as well. And you can see the scattered hit and miss shower activity here across some of eastern Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana yesterday. This is composite reflectivity, what the Doppler radar may look like today. You can kind of see that precipitation coming to an end as we move towards the afternoon hours here. And then as we go on into Sunday, you'll see a few storms pop up, mainly across Montana, Idaho, maybe clipping eastern Oregon here. It looks like something tries to pop up near Omak here, maybe across the higher terrain of the Cascades, east slopes here as we go through tomorrow afternoon. And as we go on in through Monday, you'll notice some of this activity try to pop up across some of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, and some of this creeping into eastern Washington, Oregon. Thunderstorm potential across Idaho, eastern Idaho, and Montana as well. And again, there could be some localized flooding with some of these heavier rainfall amounts. This is looking at a wider view of things here. This is yesterday afternoon's European versus itself yesterday morning. There's Alaska, BC, Washington, California. You can see the ridge across Canada. And then this next one builds up over the Pacific Northwest here. It's going to bring us a warm day or two. But then look at this trough kind of swing down, a sharp trough out of the northwest there, come down across Pacific Northwest. You can kind of see decent model agreement there. And then we move off in the future a little bit more, and it brings a system into BC here. Kind of a little bit of a robust system there. So this is something to watch. We are looking a bit out there. This 180 hours. This would be out towards next weekend, Saturday morning. So we'll watch this next system coming up here, because then this one wants to drop down and open a trough along much of the west coast of North America as we go on through the extended. But we're looking 10 days out right there. Kind of fantasy land at this point. But as you can imagine, this would definitely bring us below average temperatures and some some precipitation chances here across the Pacific Northwest. This is looking at the GFS, last night's run. This is the ensemble mean here. This is an average of all 30 ensemble runs here on the GFS. Build this ridge here for a couple warm days, and then we start to bring this troughing across the area Tuesday. You can see that kind of skirt by the Pacific Northwest here. Then you can kind of see the next troughing setting up here. So there is some agreement between the GFS and the European through the extended here for this general troughing across the Pacific Northwest. Of course, we're going to get clarity on this in the days upcoming. And by the way, I will be out storm chasing here for the next 2 or 3 days here, but I will bring my equipment with me and I'll do those daily briefings, of course, as always here for the Pacific Northwest. But yeah, the general takeaway from this is that we could be experiencing some troughing here across much of the West Coast here as we go off into the following weekend here and on in through next week. But we'll watch that right now. It's purely fantasy land right now. This is National Blended Models. You can see warming up a bit better here versus that 56 we had, that very chilly temperature across SeaTac. Perhaps some 70s for the Willamette Valley there going into Sunday. And you'll see those temperatures bounce back. A lot of the areas like Seattle getting in the mid 70s, Southwest BC warming up nicely. And look at Monday up to the mid 80s here, maybe 90 for Portland there. Look at Eastern Washington warming up. We drop back down again Tuesday though. We're getting back down towards average here as that next system, that troughing, starts to impinge on the area here from the northwest, and you can see more seasonable temperatures potentially on in through next week. We'll watch that one as we go day by day. Now this is looking at the U.S. drought monitor here. So I put this in on January 3rd. This is what we're looking at January 3rd, 2023 here across the region. You can see there is some extreme and some exceptional drought across Montana, Oregon. There's a lot of severe and moderate drought all over the place here. But watch as we go to June 6th. Look at Montana just kind of get wiped clean. A lot of that brand new slate there. But there is still some severe drought across Northwest. But hopefully those recent rains have been helping with that. And then as we go across Oregon, look at that extreme and exceptional drought just get completely wiped away. Still abnormally dry here across western Washington. But we really did improve a lot of this drought here across much of the West. California, Nevada, Utah, really huge improvements there. So kind of fun to watch this slider go back and forth and just kind of erase that extreme drought across much of the West region here. And yeah, this is weeks 3 to 4 temperature outlook here. This is June 9th. It was issued yesterday. You can see the Pacific Northwest still above average temperatures, but I have a feeling this may be changing a little bit here if that trough does set up on the West Coast here. So I wouldn't paint this as being high confidence as of right now. This is June 9th here, kind of showing that above average signal across eastern Oregon, Idaho, and some of eastern Washington as well. But again, we'll see how this trends. This is purely a probability map right now, and there's not much confidence in it right now. This is looking at sea surface temperature anomalies, and take a look across the equatorial Pacific. So here we go. There's June 9th. Now watch, that's March 12th. You can really see the waters across the equatorial Pacific warm up here as we go through April. There's late April. Here we go on into May, and you can see the really warm water across a lot of the areas here, South America, extending out across the equatorial Pacific. Just a classic signature for the emerging El Nino. And I've kind of been theorizing or hypothesizing that this warm water here building up has been enhancing that subtropical jet stream going into California there. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of a classic El Nino signature there, and it looks like it's on the way. But you can see there's been some colder water here along the West Coast here. It's kind of been, you can see it warming up a bit here as we go towards the end of the run, but it still exists out here. However, that El Nino is likely developing here, and it's probably going to be a moderate or strong one as we go into the fall and winter months here. And I do have an educational video on that about El Nino, so check that out if you want, and we'll be talking about these effects on the Pacific Northwest here as we go through the next few months. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys got to enjoy that rainfall out there. We didn't have to water the garden here for the last couple days, which is quite nice here. But we are going to warm back up again as we go through the end of the weekend on into early next week before another trough potentially comes down across the region, which we'll be watching day by day. So anyway, hope you guys like these videos. Leave some comments below. I don't always have a chance to click like or respond to all the comments, but I do try to read them all, at least briefly, if nothing else. So keep doing that. I appreciate you guys. All the channel's been doing great, and you guys are the reason it's been doing great. So anyway, we will talk again tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then.